Guess we're going to do some envelopes. Exciting. All right. Well, I don't have the word on that, so I'm going to leave that alone. All right. Today's message is going to be on the miracle of the I am, and we're going to touch base on a couple of things how God was so intricate about when He put that in the Bible. The Lord is about numbers. He loves numbers. He loves math, which is an anomaly to me because I do not. And I'm supposed to be made in His image, but I guess that's going to come later. But the I am, we find it in the Old Testament, and it actually is I will be. We find it 37 times. That we see that the Lord is speaking, and He says, I will be. And then in the New Testament, we find it the 37 times as well, where Jesus is speaking, and He says, the I am. And we can look in Isaiah 53:5, and He was pierced for our transgressions, and He was crushed for our iniquities. Now, the Hebrew, that was written in the Hebrew text. And the Hebrews, they didn't have numbers in their language. I have no clue what that sound was. But I'm moving along, okay? I got it going here. And the numeric value for He was pierced for our transgressions, He was crushed for our iniquities, is 1,369, or 37 times 37. Pretty powerful, isn't it? How God uses numbers. And in Exodus 3:14, we find God and Moses. And Moses, a little pretext to this, Moses is wondering how in the world he's going to be able to have the Hebrew slaves believe in him. These slaves that have been raised by the Egyptians for hundreds of years. How he's going to speak a word into their life to suddenly have them fall in line with what he's telling them. And we find his answer comes in a reply, and he says, I am that I am, he said. Thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am, has sent me unto you. Now, I'll be honest with you. In my endeavors in reading this text and seeing this text, it felt like it was inadequate to me. It felt like it was unable to really get the job done. Not enough text. Not enough depth. But then, later in life, God began to show me some things. But let's go on. Let's go into the New Testament. Let's look at some of the things that Jesus said. In John 14:16, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. I am. Still yet in John 15:5, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. Those are powerful words, the I am. They're life-changing words. Put in the proper context in our lives, they will destroy the enemy that's trying to attack us. You see, God was telling Moses in a not so subtle way. He says, I am strong and not weak. I'm a burden carrier. I'm an overseer. I'm a cloud of protection. I am the pillar a fire for your comfort at night. I am your bounty, your plenty, and your need. I am your strength to get your head, to get up and to heed my word. I am your strength and your need. He was telling Moses also that I am with you in travel. I am with you when you're lost. I am with you when you're unsure. And I am with you at any cost. And when you find yourself up against it, and it's impossible, you can't see the way out, I am the way maker, and there's no way that I haven't found. That's what God was trying to proclaim to Moses when he says, I am that I am. And it's all that we need still to this day. For we can use the Lord's words in our lives. For those that are broke, busted, and disgusted, you've tried this and you've tried that. You're broken inside, and your emotions are a train wreck of past failures. For those with children, you living the I am is a must. For children only learn 10% by hearing. I think it's less than that, as much as I tell Riker and Zach. I believe it's around the 5% style myself. And so, the other 90% are our actions. And so what we have to do is we have to choose to each day with our words that we say. And we can tell ourselves each and every day. We can speak power into our lives by saying just simply, I am powerful. I am strong. I'm an overcomer. No matter what the situation, I'm a critical thinker. At first, that may sound just simple and weak. But to a determined individual, this becomes power and your strength. The I am is unstoppable. It's an unstoppable force. The I am is going to get you up every morning with purpose to pursue. But we can't lie to ourselves. We can't say like, I am perfect. Because we serve the one who is perfect. But we can say instead that I am in pursuit, in practice. I am in the game. I am healed. I am healthy. We can say, I am unafraid. We can say, I am resilient. When we get knocked down, we could say, I'm not going to come undone, but rise up again. The I am that I am. You see, I am a blood-bought child of God. By His very nature, I am powerful. I am redeemed, thought, and cared for. So I choose to get up every morning and tell myself what I am to my God. You see, we don't have to tell the world what we are. You don't have to open up your doors and shout to the world, because the world, quite frankly, could care less what you are or what you attain or what you pursue. You know, it's going to be by your own conviction that you tell yourself, because no one else can do this for you. Not one other person can pursue, can tell themselves with conviction and with the heart that it needs behind it to pursue the I am. And quite frankly, you tell yourself because you're the one that needs to hear it. We have to be careful not to get to a place where we're satisfied. For satisfaction brings a word called marginal. We don't ever want to get to a place where we're just chilling, just hanging out. Or if we look at the Hebrew slaves after they had crossed over the peninsula where God had parted those waters, they began to scoff. They began to wonder. They began to become marginal in their thought. And we find them in this area of their life beginning to want to go back from which they had come. Somehow, in their mind, they thought the whips and the beatings was more comfort than the unknown. They thought that the king of Egypt was more able to feed them and to clothe them and to provide their needs than the king of this world. It's amazing how thoughts can cause us to fall. How thoughts, just a simple thought, can cause us to cling to the very things that are our downfall. So we don't ever want to get to that place called satisfied. We don't want to stay in that place where we're just chilling, hanging out. Because God has called us to pursue. Pursue what, you might say? Well, don't you know that there is a world of unbelievers just right out that door? And they need us. Let me tell you something. When that hell is all around them, and hell is real, and those flames are licking at their heels, and all they smell is sulfur, don't you know that they'll be thinking of the times that and wishing that they had heard what they didn't know? Think about that. You see, the two most powerful words in the English language are I am. And I believe it. Because the I am that I am. In any language, they'll change your life. You see, what you speak after I am is powerful. What you believe after I am is life-changing. These decisions will, these will just control your decisions, and they will save your life. If you believe you are powerful, if you believe you are capable of achieving great things, you will attempt great things. If you speak into your life resilience and determination to overcome anything, you will be ready to face and to overcome anything. The I am. You can let the power of I am shape your life in so many directions. You see, what you speak after I am, what you believe after I am, what you will control your decisions and shape your life. If you believe you are powerful, if you believe you are achieving great things, you will attempt those great things. Period. If you believe it, you will. And if you get up and you say, I am powerful, I am strong, I am successful, I am an achiever, I am abundant, I am rich and blessed, I am determined, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am health and wealth, I am. I am beautiful. I am wise. I am capable of anything. I am someone who makes things. I serve a powerful Creator. Therefore, I am a creator. I am filled with strength. I am blessed. I am grateful. I am a miracle. I am. Those two simple, powerful words. We just have to speak them into our lives. Just back here, I was talking about a train wreck. Wasn't I? Does anybody have train wreck of emotions, of failures in your life where you just haven't quite achieved, or the mistakes that you've made that you try to cover up and you try to bury over them? Pete Buttigieg would love to bury over that train wreck in Ohio, wouldn't he? He'd love to cover that up. Oh, took him 3 weeks to get there. My God. Don't we have transportation in this world that'll get us places fairly quickly? 3 weeks. Whew, he was quite a detour. That poor fella. I feel for him. But those failures can drag us down. Don't tell me they can't, because I know they can. Because I've lived it. You see, I didn't go to the college of this university or that. I went to the college of hard knocks. And I got some lumps to prove it. And I'm not dissing colleges. I'm sure that they have a need and they provide a service. But I didn't go there. And so therefore, my learning curve was out there in the real world of hate and disgust. And misery loves company. I'm telling you, it does. And I've been miserable, and I loved company. Come on, talk to me. Right? You called your cruddy buddies. Oh, I'm not supposed to go there. I'm sorry. But I am. It's real. That train wreck, that's what I'm talking about. But I'm also talking about the I am that I am. The I am that I am. You see, that was all past tense in that Old Testament. I will be. It was foretelling of a future. For the I Am stepped on the stage. And he says, I am the vine, and you are my branches. And who abides in me, and I in him, will what? What? Bear much fruit. We have to be careful with what we speak and how we live. Remember, 10% by hearing, and then the other 90% is by walking the walk and talking the talk. That one foot in front of the other. When you don't feel like getting up and you know it's going to be a grueling day, I am going to be powerful today. I am in Jesus' name. You could put I am in front of anything that you need for that hour. I am. You see, I am connected to my Creator. I am a part of God. I am blood-bought and powerful. I am mercy, for I have obtained mercy. I am a powerful spirit, and I'm raised from the dead. I am focused. I'm on fire. I am more than enough for this day. You see, I can speak it into my future and say, I am a winner. I'm a champion. I don't have it yet. I haven't attained it. But I can speak to my future and pull it into the now. Just like the Federal Reserve. Oh, I digress. You see, I know these things because I've lived it. In 2007, I had the crazy brain idea. My wife said, huh? Whenever I brought this up. I said, I had an itch. Anybody ever have an itch? Not like in the physical term, but an itch that you haven't quite obtained some goal or done something that you needed to do. And I had an itch, and I needed it scratched, and I wanted to get back in the military. And so I began my pursuit to join back in the military. Albeit, I'd been out for 8+ years. It's a long time, you know. A little bit of a gut starts coming on. There's, you know, little table fat, right? I was, when I chose to go, I was about 215 pounds. So that was probably about 40 pounds heavier than what I am now. So anyway, I pursued several avenues to get in, and the Lord shut every door, slammed them in my face. Talk about dejected. I felt so dejected, so down. I did. I was like, I really want this. I'm still in shape. I can do this. Right? I can do this. Well, he finally succumbed to me, and he opened up a door. And the words that came out of my mouth to the recruiter that I was speaking to was, I just don't want to do normal, everyday Joe. I want to do something that is outstanding, that's different. And he says, well, I could put you in as a drill sergeant, and you can pursue your dream and get your brown round. And I reached over and I grabbed his hand, and he said, I knew he thought that was odd, but I didn't want him to move that mouse because I knew that was an important decision that was coming. And I said to him, I said, I'm prior Air Force, not Army. And he knew exactly what I meant. And he says, it'll be all right. He said, you'll get through it. He said, if you want to do something, I've got these slots. They've just changed the regulations. I can get you in. And I said, okay. Little did I know what awaited me in my future. It's 16 weeks to get through drill sergeant school. It's not an easy task. This is one of the pride and joys of the United States Army, and they just don't give it out to everybody. And in fact, when I showed up at Fort Sill in 2008, when I finally got my orders, there I am. I'm now 36. A 36-year-old male. They changed the regulations. I wouldn't have been there a year's past. Okay? They changed the regulations, allowed me to get in. And I got in on the very last number. Okay? That was allowing me in. Those drill sergeant leaders, not one felt like I deserved to be there. Remember, they had been a drill sergeant recruit as well. They had gone through this the same. They had met the criterion prior to going to school. And they knew that I was lacking because they looked into my background, and the first thing they seen was United States Air Force. The audacity to even show up, because they have the power to give me a plane ticket home. Now, they're not going to tell me that right off the bat. It's going to be in their actions, not necessarily in their words. But I'll never forget, Satan's going to fight you the whole way. Let me tell you something. Satan is going to fight you, and is going to fight you in the pursuit of your dreams. I woke up that next morning. After I get there was 162 of us on ground. And I'm looking around at all these young men and women, and I'm saying, oh, God, where am I? Where do I fit in this mix? I felt so out of place. I mean, extreme out of place. And then, to boot, several of them knew I was prior Air Force because little birds chirp. Birds of a feather, they flock together. And I was not a bird of their feather, you understand? And so I was ostracized right from the beginning. Nobody wanted to talk to me because they didn't feel I was a cut from their line of work, what they had known, what they had done, who they were, their existence. And I was completely at odds with everything. And that next morning, I woke up, and there's an ice storm that had moved through. This is Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and the weather can change on a dime. And I had to take a PT test that morning. I woke up, it was 3:15 in the morning, and we had to be at the PT parade field by no later than 4:20. And wind was howling, ice storm, trees down everywhere. We had to find our way. They don't cancel nothing for nothing. I don't care. We're like the mailman. You're going to get through it, rain, sleet, snow, or shine. And we get there to the track and field area, and wind's blowing. And the two words that came out of my mouth were what set the tone for the rest of my day. And I said, Lord, I can't do this. I got through the setups and the push-ups, just barely. Where you see, I have to pass this test as an 18-year-old because it's an 18-year-old that I'm going to train. And so they put the requirements, everything, as a new recruit. And then I got to the run. A quarter mile into that first run, my lungs were screaming at me. My heart was pounding, and I more or less gave up. I finished that 2-mile run about 7 minutes, a little over, off the mark. And I knew my ticket was going to be waiting on me in about 2 hours for me to go home. because it's pass or fail. There are no repeats. But the God of heaven, the Lord, whom's my maker, who I was baptized in the name of Jesus Christ in 1992, he knew me, and he knew how to, he's the maker of the rules. You see, he makes the rules. We think we make the rules, but he makes the rules. And we have to understand that. And suddenly there was a decree that came down. A decree. And what it was is that there were so many that failed, and the dropout rate was going to be so high that they decided to bend the learning curve and allow us a do-over. All the people that failed. And there was a bunch of us, more than I thought. And listen, the devil is always trying to get in the details. And so the next day, it was a beautiful day. It was a tough, grueling day. It went by fast because every day is always a test. And it started from day one. It wasn't no joke. I can't explain to people just how grueling that test was. And so I went to bed that night, going to take my retest on the third day, and I woke up, and I know you're not going to believe this, but another ice storm had come through. And the wind was howling. I'm telling you, you know when it's howling out of the north, exactly what it feels like. I felt like my teeth were going to break. And I said, when I got out, I didn't realize that I was speaking to my future. I had no idea. But I remember my thoughts and my words is, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. And I spoke to my future because that run, I suddenly had lungs. Albeit, a day and a half ago, I was coughing up blood. And I passed that test. I got through it. And thus started a very grueling 16 weeks of drill sergeant school where the drill sergeant leaders took it upon themselves to weed me. I wasn't the only one they were weeding out. But I tell you what, I probably wasn't very far from the top of the list. Listen, I had some failures. And I started saying, I started having to pray, God, you're going to have to make me strong. God, you're going to have to give me the knowledge here. God, you're going to have to. I'd get up. I didn't have like a computer in my room to distract me. I didn't have a lot of stuff. And I know that God kept that from me just for the simple fact that he wanted simplicity into my life and where I would actually get on my knees and cry out to him. Because I didn't have anything else. But yet, the I am came through. Because I began to get traction. I began to say to myself, I am strong. I am powerful. I can do this. I am. Spoke to my future, and that brown round made it on my head. Only if, I think it was 35. 35 made it to graduation. That's it. And I was one of them. And in that picture, you don't see the scars. You don't see the broken bones. Well, you can in the picture, because I had a broken nose. The last thing that we have to do is go through combatives. That's the Army was big at that time in being able to take confrontation and close the gap with the enemy and not be fearful. And so they started the combatives program. And that was big for a drill sergeant. You had to be able to teach it. You had to be able to live it and have knowledge of complete on the its backstory on why it came about, and all of that stuff. And so we had to do combatives at the end where we're going to beat on each other. Except the drill sergeant leaders, they get to do the beating. And all we get to do as cadets was do clinch drills on them. In other words, they throw punches at us, and we try to get them in submissive moves to a clinch drill, through a clinch drill, and then we can tap out. And let me tell you, they were beating us down. all of their frustration with us, everything, all the smart mouths, all of the things that we had done to them. There's ways that you can gig somebody and get on their nerves. And we knew that, and they knew it as well. And boy, when it came to that head, here they come. Listen, they put one dude in ICU in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, Sergeant Miller's his name. And he had bleeding on the brain. So, yeah. So, that's just a little bit of, I've lived it. I know what the I am can do for your life. Now listen, wasn't my, once I got my drill sergeant hat, that wasn't my quan. That wasn't where I stayed. I was still going to be a cherry Jill on the trail. I still had to prove myself to the soldiers that I was going to be in front of. I still had obstacles that I had to pursue and to overcome. And so do you. That's where I'm speaking about the I am for your life. The I am that I am. I am that vine. We can tap into Him. He is what we need. And He is all that we need. But we have to speak it into existence. If we could get it into our mind, just that when we get up in the morning, that the first things that we would say with our mouth is, I am whatever I need to be. Whatever it is. If you just say it, I am, at first it's going to seem foreign and inept and just totally unqualified. But as we do it, the more we do it, the more we repeat them every day, the more that they'll soak into our subconscious. You see, we got to let God's power, His life, come alive in us. Are you, Family Worship Center, are we ready to be great? That's a question. If so, the I am is waiting for you. You see, we need to replace the I want. I want, I want. We don't allow the boys to say I want. They have to say please. Or may I have. They have to form it in a proper context. And we need to do the same. I want, it should be taken completely out of our vocabulary and replaced with I am. You know, instead of saying I want this or want that, I am willing, or I am this, or I am that. You have to believe it. You have to feel it all the way down to your core inside of you. This is not a fake thing, because you would know fake if you were telling yourself something fake. The first person would know would be you, because you're the one saying it. So if you don't believe it, you're not going to believe it. If you're not grabbing what you're saying, how can you believe it? It's got to be ingrained in you that you know that the I am is the I am. And you have to say it with conviction to yourself. Talk to yourself. Say it. It's okay. I am powerful. I am strong. I am rich. Oh, that's horrible. You can't say that. Rich in what? Not necessarily wealth and bank account, but rich in knowledge. Rich in passion. That can be the most greatest thing that will be your downturn, is if you don't have enough passion, not enough conviction. I am an overcomer. You see, I am successful, abundant, and well supplied. I am determined. No one has the power to deter me. I am focused. I am disciplined. I am capable of anything. I am limitless in the eyes of God. I am. Thoughts are provoking, but thoughts can lead to action. And actions overcome any habits. Period. The end. I am that I am. And Lord, I just thank you for this message. Lord, I thank you for your power and your authority. Lord, I thank you that you spoke to Moses, not as Moses was some great individual. You just spoke to Moses as a man who needed the assurance, Father, of his God. And Father, you just gave him the am that I am. And it's powerful. And Father, I pray, God, that we use it in our lives. I pray, God, we deploy it in our lives. I pray, God, it's on our minds. I pray, God, that it's not just on our minds, but on our lips, Lord. I pray, Jesus, that we speak to our future, that we speak to our past and our present too. Lord, I thank you for Family Worship Center, and I'm thankful, Lord, to be a part of this great church. And Lord, I pray, God, that you use each and every one of us, Lord, to your power and to your glory. And it's in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.